Blessed are they who have kept the word with a generous heart and yield a harvest through perseverance. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She has a sister named Mary, who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Raise your hand if you were born in a different country. Okay, quite a few of hands there. I too was born in a different country. I was 15 when I moved from Korea to the United States. I can confidently tell you now that Korea has become a household name thanks to BTS, Blackpink, and Netflix with its endless supply of Korean dramas. But back when I first came to the US, and I would tell people I was from Korea, people would always ask me a clarifying question. Are you from the north or from the south? There was some nervous laughter there. And I would tell them I'm from the south. But sometimes, just to see how they would react, I would tell people that I was from the north. And normally I would never see them again. Now that I've lived the majority of my life here in the US, though, this is home for me. This is where I belong. But growing up, it wasn't always clear. There was always a question in the back of my mind that would pop up at different moments. Where is home? Where do I belong? Now, what is interesting is that although these questions regarding home and our sense of belonging is one that can be pronounced in the experience of immigrants, it is in fact questions that involves all of us, because these are very much questions that touch upon the human experience. That even for those of us who were born and raised here in the United States, may still find ourselves asking from time to time, where is home? Where do I truly belong? My mind immediately goes to the homeless, and I think it's telling that we use the word homeless and not houseless, because being at home is more than owning a house or living in one. And even if we aren't necessarily struggling with homelessness, at least not in the physical sense, we might still ask ourselves the question, are we at home? Do I truly belong? Am I at home in my own house? Am I at home with my own family? Am I at home with my neighbors? Am I at home with myself? Home and belonging are deeper concepts than just the physical location where we were born into, or the physical structure that we occupy. But it involves the whole reality, physical and spiritual, and our whole self, our body, mind, and soul. And our readings today suggest that the only way we will truly find ourselves being at home and to truly have a sense of belonging depends on how we respond to the following question. Am I at home with God? In our first reading from the book of Genesis, Abraham is visited by 3 journeying men. We don't know their names. We don't know where they're coming from or where they're going. But in the text, we receive a hint that in fact the 3 journeying men is God himself in disguise. For as it says, the Lord appeared to Abraham by the terebinth of Mamre, as he sat in the entrance of his tent, while the day was growing hot. Looking up, Abraham saw 3 men standing nearby. And here already at the beginning of our reading, we discover an important spiritual insight, that in fact, God is the one who takes initiative to be present to us. For he is not a distant God, but a personal God. And yet we don't always know when and how he is present to us, as it is in the case of the 3 journeying men who visited Abraham, who had no idea that it was in fact God visiting him in disguise. God does not always reveal himself through supernatural events, though he does so when and if he deems it necessary. But more often, God reveals himself in ordinary moments, through ordinary people. For our God is a humble God who hides his glory so that we might seek him and find him as we grow in our faith and grow in our capacity to be at home with him. Abraham in our first reading is presented as a model for us on how to be at home with God. On one level, we can understand his excellent hospitality as a cultural norm for nomads, who would often offer hospitality to outsiders to maintain peace, so that in the acceptance of the hospitality, it was confirmed that there was no intention to be a threat. But on a deeper level, it teaches us how we can be at home with God. Abraham offers the 3 journeying men the best that he has to offer. He does not offer them the bare minimum, but the best of his food, the best of his drink, the best of his time and presence. Again, the 3 journeying men was God in disguise. And so Abraham, even without him knowing, was offering God his very best. How about us? When we come before God, are we giving him our best? Or are we giving him what's left over? How open are we to the 3 strangers in our own lives, those through whom God might be visiting us in disguise? In the hospitality that Abraham provided for the 3 journeying men, Abraham teaches us a valuable lesson, that through the hospitality that we offer to those around us, we might in fact be providing a home for God. Being a home for God. This is what we find in our gospel today in the story of Martha and Mary, who shows us the inner dynamics of how we can be not only at home with God, but how we might ourselves be a home for God. Again, God takes the initiative. As much as we think we are the ones searching for God, in reality, God is seeking us. As in our gospel, just like the first reading, it is Jesus who decides to enter the village where Martha and Mary lived. And we learn through Martha and Mary, as we observe how they interact with Jesus, we learn from them how to be at home with Jesus, and furthermore, how to be a home for Jesus. Martha, as we know, is one who is quick to act. She is described as the one who first welcomed Jesus and initiated the hospitality. Mary is one who sat beside Jesus at his feet to listen to him speak. Traditionally, these two sisters represent two aspects of the Christian life. Martha represents the active service and ministry, whereas Mary represents prayer and the contemplative life. Now we know this moment well. Martha becomes frustrated that Mary isn't helping and says to Jesus, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do the serving by myself? Tell her to help me." And Jesus responds to Martha in an unexpected way. Yet it's not meant to be chiding, but a gentle reminder. "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." Now, if Martha symbolizes service and Mary symbolizes prayer, is Jesus saying that service is less important than prayer when he says Mary has chosen the better part? No. But what he is affirming is the priority of prayer that leads to true service. That without a deep prayer life, service can become a means to serve oneself rather than serving the Lord. A mature Christian, then, isn't just a Martha or a Mary. A mature Christian embraces both, a life of prayer and a life of service. That's how we become truly at home with God and how we may be a home for God. As we reflected in the beginning, it is part of the human experience to desire to be at home. And as I mentioned, we will only be at home when we are finally at home with God. In this sense, we realize that home is not a place, but a person. And that our journey towards our eternal home in heaven is again a journey not towards a physical place, but a journey towards a total union with God, who loves us unconditionally. And if we can grasp that our true home is a person, not a place, then we realize what Jesus meant when he commanded us, "Love one another as I have loved you." He was calling us not simply to desire home. He was calling us to be a home for God and for one another. Let us stand and offer our prayers. Profess our faith together. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty,